Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and I'm the only one that's giving the show today. I'd like to tell everybody, say hello to Leighton. Hey, Leighton.
Hey, Luther's here too.
Luther, yeah, turn up, Luther style, yeah, turn up. In case you were wondering, on the social media websites, the UL Lafayette Raging Cajun football team was out there yesterday helping out. Well, I think about yesterday or 2 days ago. They were in Youngsville helping with the damage here of flooding here in Louisiana. The flooding in Louisiana has been a really tough thing. We didn't have our thing last week because we didn't know how bad it was going to get. Fortunately for us, nothing got damaged over here. Everybody's fine. Nobody's vehicles got flooded in or anything like that. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody that's having misfortunes about this flood here. In this bad situation that Acadiana's in, and along with Baton Rouge and other parts of Louisiana. This flood has been categorized as a 100-year flood. Like, it happens once. I was looking at the newscast, and they would say 1% chance every year you're going to get a 100-year flood. So every time you have 1% chance of a 100-year flood, you will get at least about once a century, basically, in other words. Best way to put that there. But the destruction over here has been really, I've never seen anything like it. The only thing I can compare it to would be Hurricane Katrina. But Hurricane Katrina was just New Orleans itself. I'm not saying Katrina wasn't a bad thing, but the area, the widespreadness of this Hurricane Katrina, what made New Orleans the situation was in was the levees breaking and that going on there. Well, there was really no levees over here to break anyway, here in this part of Acadiana. It's so widespread. That's what makes this catastrophe kind of a higher level than New Orleans. New Orleans was a bad situation, but I think the amount of people that this affected probably going to be greater than Katrina itself. There was really no warning that this was going to happen. It just started pouring down rain, and there was no warning saying that this storm's going to hit. You need to get out. No chance at all. 20 inches fell in a period of 24 hours. That is stuff unheard of anywhere in this country. That's a lot of water in a short amount of time. And Louisiana's not real high off the ground anyway due to sea levels and stuff like that. But that's a whole nother talk for another day. I'm here to talk about the Big 12 Conference Preview here, coming up here on the Fishbowl Radio. Now, the big star of the Big 12 basically is Oklahoma starting quarterback Baker Mayfield. He managed to get Oklahoma into the college football playoff last year. There's 4 teams. They ended up playing Clemson in the Orange Bowl, which we know how all that went. Clemson ended up beating Oklahoma, went to play Alabama for the national championship, and Alabama ended up winning it last year. So it's very interesting to see how Oklahoma can come back this year and maybe get a better team this year to make a run for the title. I think Baker Mayfield, and they won the Big 12 last year, Oklahoma. They had one loss last year to Texas, which was like I said about rivalry games, you can't predict them. A rivalry game, Texas wasn't really that good last year. And you have this other situation we got going on with the Big 12, that conference expansion. Tulane's been put in this mix. Houston. ECU's been trying on Twitter to get into the Big 12. SMU. There's like at least 20 teams that are having talks with the Big 12 to get into expansion. How many teams is the Big 12 going to take in? You still got to wait and see what they're actually going to do here with that. It'd be really nice to see. I think the Big 12 should probably expand to 16. I think it'd be pretty cool to see them go that way. Will academics play a role in the Big 12? If they're going to go academically, Tulane's a very good institution here in Louisiana for the Big 12 to even pick from, because they got a really good academics over there. It's just something they're probably the smartest college in Louisiana, to be honest with y'all. That's saying something. So we've had a bunch of talks about that. Mike was supposed to join me on the broadcast, but we haven't heard anything. I know Mike's fine, but his family's rent house that house got flooded, so that was pretty bad for them. So we will see what happens here. About that, I was in conversation with him a couple of days ago, so I mean he's fine and everything. Juicy's got work, so that's why he's not on this broadcast here today. And then you got another off-season story, the Baylor scandal with Art Briles and everything there. So a lot of Big 12 storylines to cover here. I think Oklahoma is the clear favorite to win the Big 12, but a potential sleeper has to be TCU. Even though they got to replace Trevon Boykin, Gary Patterson has done a very good job in building a team around. He's probably got the best defense in Big 12, I think, in my opinion. Oklahoma State, Baylor, West Virginia, Texas Tech, and Kansas State. They all, I think, can have pretty good years. It's going to be interesting to see how Iowa State does underneath and you head coach Matt Campbell, because it will be a very interesting episode itself to see how they do. It's going to be, they're the big questions to answer for the Big 12 this year. Will Oklahoma win back-to-back championships? Oklahoma returns 12 returning starters. They're led by Heisman Trophy candidate and quarterback Baker Mayfield. The combination of their coordinator Lincoln Riley and Mayfield for their offense will provide the spark that they had last year. I think there's going to be a very good, as long as you got a very solid quarterback to build upon, I think Oklahoma will be fine on the offensive end. And they got a pretty good backfield too at Oklahoma. Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, they're pretty good too. They do have Penn State graduate transfer Geno Lewis to be back for the wide receivers at there, and Mark Andrews being a very good receiver for them as well. But who will be the number one receiver is the question that a lot of people need to be wondering here. Who's going to be there to replace Sterling Shepard? And the offensive line, they only lost 2 starters, but I think Oklahoma's offensive line will do very well. I think once you get going a couple games, the first 2 games, you have to kind of be worry about to see how your team kind of gels together. You kind of look at everybody and see, okay, look, this is the part here that we need to work on. 1 or 2 games, Oklahoma should be okay, I think. So will they win back-to-back championships? I think Oklahoma will. But who's the team underneath them that's going to be very well? You have to ask yourself that. Is it going to be TCU or Oklahoma State? I think Oklahoma's going to win this thing. I think Oklahoma's going to win the Big 12 again this year. They got basically all the pieces ready to go again. They might even go deep into the national title conversation. But I do pick TCU over Oklahoma State. You take a look at their schedule. The TCU catches Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech at home. While Oklahoma State, the Cowboys, they have road trips to Baylor, Kansas State, TCU, and Oklahoma. And Oklahoma State has a very good job last year. They had a very good turnover ratio last year. They had a plus 13 turnover margin, and it was a 4-0 mark in one-score games last year. You know, I'll tell you what, it's been very good for Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy's team, they ran the ball better, and then they improved the line to push their offensive line to push Oklahoma or TCU in these standings. Because if they don't do that, then you're going to have a whole lot of trouble trying to catch Oklahoma and TCU. That's how you build up a great program there. It all starts at the line. If you get an offensive line and defensive line playing very extremely well, you will have these teams here trying to push these other teams better. That's where it all starts in college football, the line. If you got to push against that other defensive line, offensive line beating defensive line, you're going to probably be able to control how the game's going to go from there. And the only other factor that would probably deter that would probably be turnovers. Turnovers would be another issue there. But if you got a team that's like probably 0 in the turnover battle, your offensive and defensive line will take care of the rest. So, as we move along here, that's answering the question there. I think TCU will be higher than Oklahoma State for that reason. And now we get the fallout from the scandal. That's the third big topic I'm going to cover here. from Baylor's football program. Art Briles, he did an amazing job in Baylor. Tournament national championship contender. Now there's a cloud of uncertainty. Jim Grobe attempts to keep this team in the Big 12 championship hunt. Off the field issues cost Briles his job. It's going to be interesting to see how they'll go. They got to rebuild both their units. And now they have to figure out what they're going to do for 2016. The 2016 signing class is up in the air. Seth Russell is expected to return from his full strength from that neck injury he had last year. They're going to have KD Cannon, Johnny Jefferson, and Shock Linwood coming back. KD Cannon is a pretty good wide receiver. Johnny Jefferson and Shock Linwood will be good. Grove, I think he could do very well at Baylor. Well, Baylor, they ranked them 10 through 15. 10 to 15 ranked. I don't know if Baylor will be a top 25 team. These distractions are pretty big here. That could play a big role, but I think Baylor will come together. It depends how well you handle adversity. A lot of adversity handled the Baylor program right now. That's still not done with, I don't believe. And I think Baylor will come together and have a good year this year. You know, people are kind of doubting them right now, but, I think Baylor can get the job done. I mean, you got to, if you would manage the program, you got to see what's going to happen here. Now, we get into deeper talk about Texas. The Texas Longhorns. In 2 seasons, Charlie Strong has an 11-14 record at Texas. Everybody was thinking Charlie Strong was going to turn around Texas. Now, year 3 of Charlie Strong, this is the year that Charlie Strong has to post a significant improvement. Between your first 2 years, you got to do something here. Their offense only averaged 26.4 points a game. And true freshman Shane Buckley, he should provide stability there. I think he needs time to get acclimated to this level. And Gilbert can ease his quarterback into the starting role by doing a 1-2 punch on Dante Freeman and Chris Warren. More weapons. They need weapons on the wide receiver position for the Longhorns for them to even have a chance to kind of climb. The Texas finished 5th in the Big 12 in scoring defense last year. And the back 7 could take a big step forward with the emergence of sophomores Malachi Jefferson, Holton Hill, and Devontae Davis. They have a non-conference schedule that, it can be difficult on them. Notre Dame and California. They have road trips to Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Texas Tech. So the path to mark improvement in the win column isn't going to be very easy for Texas this year. If they improve, like I think they will, they can get higher than they did last year. But they're finishing 5th last year. Finishing 7th, I think, or 6th last year. Oh, Texas needs to get better. But that big win over Oklahoma might be what they needed last year, and to say, hey, we can play with the big boys if we want to. Now we get to a little bit further down the road. We'll start talking about Texas Tech and West Virginia. They got defensive question marks on both these teams here. They have an opportunity to surprise both these teams here. Both their defenses are looking to fill major voids. The offense hasn't been a problem for Texas Tech in recent years, and there's no source of firepower in Lubbock, Texas at all. With the return of quarterback Patrick Holmes, Coach Cliff Kingsbury has to restock the offensive line and go find a go-to receiver to replace Jakeem Grant. But the offense should be perfectly fine, in my opinion. Coordinator Dave Gibbs should be the right coach to have Texas Tech's defense take a step forward, and there's a lot of work ahead of this offseason. They gave up 43.6 points a game in 2015. That is way too many points to be given up. They got some potential impact transfer up front with Colin Hill and Andre Pippins. I can't talk today. My fault, guys. I can't talk today. But West Virginia's offense turned 8 starters and need more consistency out of quarterback Skylar Howard to help make the defense concerns. They got to They got to rebuild back 7, which will be very difficult for West Virginia to do. But we'll see. We will see how all this works here. My projection for the top 5 in the Big 12 this year: Oklahoma number 1, TCU number 2, Oklahoma State number 3, Baylor number 4, West Virginia number 5. That's the top 5 I got. Now we got some projected records here. They got Oklahoma going 10-2. I think Oklahoma might go one better. Give me 11-1 for Oklahoma. I think they'll do better than a lot of people think. Than the 2. I'm going above. 9-3 for TCU. I think TCU's gonna do better. Give me a 10-2 for TCU. 9-3 for Oklahoma State. Give me like an 8-4. I think they'll drop a little bit. Baylor, under all their scrutiny they've been under, they got them going 8-4. I think they kind of push. They can go 8-4 or 7-5, 1 or 2, but I'll keep 8-4 for them. That seems like about right. West Virginia 8-4. That back 7. Give me 7-5 for West Virginia. Texas Tech 8-4. I got them going 7-5 too. Texas, they got them going 7-5. Said it's about right. Maybe 8-4 for Texas. Kansas State 6-6. That's about right for Texas Tech. Kansas State. Wrong school there. Iowa State 4-8. Give me 3-9 for Iowa State. Kansas 2-10. I got them going. I think they'll win one game this year. For like not overall, but like in the Big 12, they got them going 0-9. I think they go 1-8, so like 3-9 is what they'll have. It'll be very interesting to see how all that goes down. We will see what happens here. And all this situation has become ahead here. College football season is about to start back up, so it's going to be a very fun, interesting couple of weeks for us here at the Fishbowl Radio. 2 weeks. UL kicks off September 3rd against Boise State at Cajun Field. We will be there, loud and proud, I guess you could say. It's going to be a whiteout game, so. And the Olympics is still going on, so. How's everything going in diving over there, Luther?
I think England is in the lead right now. Ahead of USA.
China's usually pretty good at that.
Yeah. They're such small people.
Yeah. It's the way it works.
Yeah. Malaysia's doing good.
I wish I could dive like them people, you know.
All I do for was swim team. Forward and swim. Yeah.
That's all you did, huh, Luther?
That's all I did.
All right, well, that'll be all for the Fishbowl Radio here today. We should have a very good episode coming up next week here as we talk the top 25. We'll give our higher and lower ranked teams to the top 25 coming out next week. It's going to be a very fun one. If you liked our conference previews, go listen to them again. We got some team previews and we switched to conference previews because I think it's a lot better to talk about the whole conference and see how things are going to break down. I think Oklahoma can get back in the college football playoff this year. It's going to be interesting to see how all these other teams play. We need more games to be played before we make any kind of assumption what's going to happen out here this year. That'll be all for me here. You can like us on Facebook. Search the Fishbowl Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Fishbowl Nation. You can follow me on Instagram at Chief Fishbowl. Also, you can follow us on YouTube. Listen to this episode here on YouTube. We got a playlist of all that going on right here. I'm going to add this video to it after I'm done and probably add the Big Ten. I don't think I really messed up Pac-12 and the Big Ten one because of the flooding concerns because we had a lot going on. I tell you what, from personal experience, I had to go to work. I work at an IT department at UL. And that first day, I got there. I got on my truck, walked down the street, and this road usually floods pretty bad. I literally had to take off my shoes and my socks and walk across the street barefooted with this water coming everywhere. People were looking at me like I was crazy, but apparently I'm not the only one doing the same thing now. But yeah. Pray for everybody over here. We got weather alerts today. Some more rain coming in over here today. That's the thing with Louisiana. It'll rain every single day over here. Just when you get a bunch of water and there's no place for it to drain into, because everywhere to drain into is already at the highest it can be. I think that Vermilion River is like over a foot of water higher, where like major flooding areas. So the crest is like 16 feet. I think it's like 18 right now. So it went down a little bit yesterday, but it may be worse. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to us here today. If y'all heard about the Cajun Navy, it's a true thing. I've seen it in person over here. It's great to see all these people helping everybody out, getting them out of their flooded homes and everything. So keep us in your prayers here, and continue to support Louisiana here. Louisiana Strong, that's what we are. We will come together like we have been. Katrina couldn't knock us down, and this flood won't either. We will rebuild, and we'll get our lives back together. Have a great day, Fishbowl Nation.